and gentlemen, please welcome the 2019 American Academy of Nursing Living Legends. Geraldine Polly Bednash. Catherine Alicia Georges. Pamela H. Mitchell. The Honorable Linda A. Schwartz. Mary K. Wakefield. And your hosts tonight, President of the American Academy of Nursing, Karen Cox, and President-elect Eileen Sullivan Marks.
The American Academy of Nursing created the Living Legends in 1994 in order to honor and recognize fellows who had made unique, outstanding, and long-lasting contributions to both the nursing profession and to society. Since then, we have honored 116 distinguished individuals as living legends. I would like to take a moment to recognize living legends that are here with us tonight. Could you please raise your hand or stand? Thanks to you all for being role models and inspiration for the past, the present, and the future generations of nursing leaders. Tonight we gather to recognize 5 living legends whose vision, leadership, and contributions have left an indelible mark on healthcare and advanced the nursing profession. It is my pleasure to introduce tonight's first living legend, Polly Bednash. Polly Bednash's name is synonymous with advancing academic nursing. She served as the Chief Executive Officer of the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, or AACN, from December 1989 to June 2015. In this role, Dr. Bednash oversaw the governmental, research, educational, publications, and other programs of the organization. As many of you know, AACN is the only national organization dedicated exclusively to furthering nursing education in America's universities and 4-year colleges. Prior to serving as CEO, Dr. Bednash headed the association's legislative and regulatory advocacy programs as Director of Government Affairs from 1986 to 1989. She directed AACN's efforts to secure strong funding for nursing education and research. She coordinated new initiatives with federal agencies and major foundations and co-authored AACN's landmark study on the financial costs to nurses, to student nurses, and clinical in baccalaureate and graduate nursing education. Polly was there and a leading change maker when Congress created the National Center for Nursing Research, and later the National Institute for Nursing Research. Polly was an early leader and advocate for interprofessional education. As a founding member and the first president of the Interprofessional Education Collaborative, representing 6 health professions, Polly had established herself as a force for advancing team-based healthcare through team-based education. As part of this work, Polly was also a member of the Sullivan Alliance to transform the health professions. Polly's commitment to service has always been at the forefront of her work, and she has consistently strived to support the military and veteran community. She served as a nurse practitioner and consultant to the Family Practice Residency Program at DeWitt Army Hospital, and as a nurse, Army Nurse Corps staff nurse in Vietnam. Later, she was a member of the Secretary's Academic Affiliations Council of the Veterans Administration. Over the course of Polly's tenure at AACN, she was highly regarded and well respected by her peers, staff, and colleagues. Like all great leaders, she pushed the envelope to keep pace with changing healthcare system and worked to ensure the standards for nursing education truly kept pace with innovation. Dr. Bednash is a visionary, an advocate, and a passionate leader. Now, one of Polly Bednash's sponsors, Dr. Eileen Breslin, will tell us a little more.
I came to know Polly when I was a very young new director at Northern Arizona University as the department chair. I went to my very first AACN meeting, and Polly came up and greeted me because she saw that I was like, oh my goodness, what is this all about? And it was my very first experience of having somebody warmly welcome you into the association, and I would say the rest is history. I think Polly's impact on history of nursing is that she really led us through the process of defining the essentials for baccalaureate nursing, master's nursing, the doctorate of nursing practice. She has really been at the forefront, helping all of us to sort of identify and quantify what excellence in academic nursing really is. When I think about Polly, I think about ever seeking new ways of doing things and new ways of understanding the world. Polly has inspired me to be a leader, always to have fun, to remember that it is about relationships, it is about being authentic, it is about the quest for excellence in everything that we do. And I am deeply, deeply grateful for her inspiration. She really has been, I think for all of us, truly an inspirational leader. I don't know where we would be without Polly in nursing education today, and she has really advanced us on our journey for academic nursing. Polly embodies the Living Legend Award because of her career. She has influenced generations of nursing students, generations of aspiring deans who are leading in the future. And if we heard her just earlier this week talk about what our new challenges are as we transform healthcare, because our patients deserve that. And she's still inspiring us all to be the very best that we could be. So she is a living legend.
Wow. This makes me very emotional, and I'm going to try not to cry. Thank you very much for that overwhelming introduction. I am so honored to be here this evening to accept this award. Now, when I was told that I had been selected for this award, I was also told I should plan to speak. So I asked, what should I speak about? And was told about 5 minutes. So this will be short, but I hope important. I am so honored that the three individuals who nominated me, Jane Kirschling, who couldn't be here tonight, Eileen Breslin, and Nancy DeBazio, that you felt I was worthy of this award. Thank you to the three of you for your faith in me and your belief that the contributions I have made to nursing and to healthcare were worthy. Thank you also to the board of the Academy for deeming my nomination a worthy one that deserved this selection. To be nominated is a huge honor, and to be selected by the leaders in our profession is just overwhelming. I cannot believe that I was deemed worthy of joining the group of individuals who have also been named living legends and who have shaped and led our profession, and to be among this group of women leaders. And I also need to thank my husband, Tom, who is here with me tonight, who supported and encouraged me throughout the career and the many stages that it had. I have been so blessed by the decision I made so many, many years ago to choose nursing. Now, actually, when I went to college, I didn't have a clue what I should major in. I was the first person in my family to go to college, and I was clearly not aware of what I was doing. So when I went to registration for that first semester, we were required to choose a major at Texas Women's University, my alma mater, ATW. And I had no idea what to do. Now, my good buddy from high school, Betsy Roy, was there, and she said to me, "I'm going to be a nurse. Why don't you do that? If you decide to change majors, you won't lose many credits." So I said, "Oh, okay, I'll be a nurse." By the way, Betsy became a librarian. But what a great choice it has been. The many ways we get to experience our profession, the way we impact people's lives, and the contributions made by nurses have a spiritual quality to them. Spirituality requires intentionality, and we are, if nothing else, intentional in the work we do. We are privileged to be present when the people or communities we serve are seeking support and are willing to share their own personal stories and needs. We have a privileged access to the people we serve. So I have never regretted that serendipitous choice of career, and tonight makes it clear to me it was the right one. Thank you all for this honor.
The next 2019 Living Legend to be recognized is Catherine Alicia Georges. Dr. Georges is an extraordinary nurse leader. She has consistently proven to be a champion of diversity in nursing, whether it be in her own backyard in the Bronx or across the Pacific Ocean in South Korea. Through her various roles spanning her storied career in both practice and education, she has promoted greater minority representation in nursing, supported international nurses, and advocated for an aging population. Alicia is well known and lauded for her work in the local New York City area and has over 40 years of experience in academia, teaching undergraduate and graduate students. She's currently the chairperson and professor at Lehman College of City University of New York, and serves as chairperson of the Bronx Westchester Area Health Education Center. She sits on the board of RAIN Healthcare Services and previously served on the Bronx Community Board, number 12, and the New York State Governor's Health Advisory Board. At the national level, Dr. Georges served as the 5th president of the National Black Nurses Association from 1987 to 1991. She also serves on the Black Women Health Study Advisory Board and helped to shape policy at the federal level through her work on the United States Department of Health and Human Services National Advisory Council on Nurse Education and Practice, and the American Academy of Nursing's Board of Directors, and National Clinician Scholars Advisory Board. Dr. Georges is a consistent, strong, and sought-after voice in nursing. Through her leadership roles, she has effectively pushed to eliminate disparities for disenfranchised, to shape nursing education and health policy in her local community and nationally. Her passion for academic nursing, community engagement, and healthy aging are evident in her work. She was elected to serve as AARP's National Volunteer President from 2018 to 2020, representing the world's largest consumer organization, with over 38 million members who are age 50 and above, and was recently appointed by U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Family Caregiving Advisory Council. A collaborative and compassionate leader, her tireless efforts will continue to positively influence the health of our nation. Now let's hear from Rita Ray, one of her sponsors.
Alicia and I became acquainted in 1989 when she was serving as the 5th president of the National Black Nurses Association. She appointed me to that board where I had the first-hand opportunity to observe her honing her innate skills, always seeking out innovative strategies to influence nursing and healthcare. Alicia has advanced the profession of nursing through several different ways. First of all, through her fostering the next generation of leaders in the nursing profession, through academia, both teaching and developing courses, both nationally and internationally. Under her watch in 1988, it was established the National Black Nurses Day on Capitol Hill. It not only highlighted the accomplishments of African American nurses at that time, but it also developed an effective avenue to influence public policy. Secondly, it was increasing awareness of the nursing shortage in people of color and underserved communities, then working to increase diverse representation in the nursing workforce. And thirdly, her election to the AARP board, and then in June 2018, she was elected the first nurse president of this board of directors. I've been inspired by her giving feet to passion, fully embracing whatever it takes to actualize the vision and making a difference in the lives she touches. She has this mentality of I will not quit. Her battle cry, we have to fight to ensure a decent quality of life that people deserve. In January of 2019, with conviction, Alicia addressed Congress in the U.S. House Oversight and Reform Committee about the need for oversight of prescription drug prices. Alicia is deserving of this award to acknowledge and to honor a passionate, trailblazing leader and her deep belief in the need to eliminate health disparities and improve the health of those in multicultural communities. Moving forward, it will be a delight to call her one of the Academy's 2019 Living Legends.
Good evening. In 1961, a 17-year-old Negro girl, that's what we were calling those days, left the small island of St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands to journey to what we call the continental United States, to attend Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey. I was not the first person in my family to go to college. My two sisters, God knows why, were in Duluth, Minnesota. Who would have thought that I would be here at the Academy of Nursing, receiving its highest honor, a living legend with these awesome nursing leaders who are also legends this evening. My parents always thought that we could do whatever we needed to do, but I don't think they ever imagined I would be here today. I know the nuns in the Virgin Islands did not expect me to be here. But it gave me a good education. My journey has not been smooth. Make no mistake. It was dotted with challenges. I was a student in the days of the civil rights movement. Much was lacking at the time. Racism was corrosive. Inequities was so apparent. But what remains so deeply embedded in my life is the friendships that I made that still prevail today. So I thank Seton Hall Dean Foley. I then became a visiting nurse and worked in the Bronx, where I still live. But the breath of fresh air was when I went to NYU. It wasn't a Catholic school. So Dean Eileen Sullivan Marks, thank you for NYU. And then I went to the University of Vermont. Crazy, cold, ice, right? But they spurred me on so that I got that degree that I needed. But I want you to know it was Claire Fagan. Anyone you ever said no to Claire Fagan? No. Who dragged me into academic nursing, and I have never regretted it. My experience with the National Black Nurses taught me how to follow and also how to lead. And I gained immeasurable skills. I have to call names because they've gone before me. People like Dr. Rita Duma, Gloria Smith, Betty Williams, Mary Elizabeth Carnegie. Those were my sheroes. And then I have all these mentors, some present: Larry Lucas, Barbara Nichols, and Bernadine Lacey. Betty Smith Williams, one of my sponsors. And then my friends, and a sponsor, Rita Ray, and my friend Linda Burns Bolton, Ophelia Long, and Millicent. Those are folks who are always there during your ups and your downs. You know, I always got negativity. I call them from my frenemies. It's my new names. And naysayers. But they pale in light of these wonderful and supporting people. The last thing I wanted to talk about, representing 38 million people in this country is awesome. And I wouldn't be able to do it without folks like Sue Reinhardt, Kelly Malone, and our CEO, Joanne Jenkins. But one thing that's been consistent and sustainable on my journey has been my family. My sister Marie Cameron, who's here tonight with her husband, and my St. Thomas family, who are not here. My friend and most called my brother, Victor Fraser, my nieces and nephews, Nadine, Nilda, and Beverly. My husband's not here tonight because he died 5 years ago. But I know he would be cheering me on tonight. But I got my daughter, Brenda, and my grandson. So, President Cox, I say to you tonight, my work is not done. I will continue to do as I have done with passion and commitment. I will try to smile often. I will count the laughs and continue to believe in magic and embrace the change and be the change I want to see in this world. And most of all, I will make every moment count. Thank you so much.
Our third living legend to be recognized is Pamela Mitchell, a past president of the Academy. Dr. Pam Mitchell is an acclaimed researcher, nurse scientist, and educator. She is known for her work as a clinical nurse specialist and translational nurse scientist in neuroscience and critical care nursing. As a testament to her knowledge and prolific work, Dr. Mitchell has been published over 200 times during the span of her career. She is a mentor and has inspired countless students, including 47 pre- and postdoctoral students and scholars, in her roles at the University of Washington, her alma mater, beginning in 1977 as a professor, an associate dean, and then interim dean. Pam was the founding director of the University of Washington Center for Interprofessional Education, Research, and Practice, which demonstrates her foresight and forward thinking in how future systems of care would best function. This center continues to be recognized as a leader in interprofessional education nationally, and is now led by a team of leaders from the health sciences professions. Dr. Mitchell's early clinical studies were conducted prior to her PhD in the field she termed healthcare systems ecology, which incorporates public health, public policy, organization, and management. With her leadership, she and her colleagues in the Academy's Quality Expert Panel developed the Quality Health Outcomes Model, which was adopted and tested by nursing and health service investigators in the US and internationally. This work was formative in shaping a new model investigating the interactions among elements of quality of care and patient outcomes. She brings over 30 years of experience in research that blends clinical, biobehavioral, and health services research, particularly with people who have critical and chronic neurological disorders and conditions. Since the 1990s, she has led interdisciplinary research teams testing various interventions to improve recovery from brain injury. Pam serves as a role model to future generations of nurses, and our hope is that many will follow in her footsteps as the need for nurse scientists and researchers continues to grow. Her lasting legacy as a skilled collaborator will result in more nursing scientists leading interdisciplinary clinical research teams. And now, Dr. Nancy Fugate Woods, one of Dr. Mitchell's sponsors, has a little more to add.
I first met Pam Mitchell in 1978. She had invited me to interview for a faculty position at the University of Washington in Seattle. And she had just received funding for a unique neuroscience nursing graduate program. And as it happened, I had had experience in practicing in that area, so she invited me to join her on the faculty. Pam is an extraordinary role model for many reasons. First, she is one of the most intelligent, insightful people I have known for my entire career. She is also an extremely kind human being and is willing to give her time generously to mentor the next generation of students. One of the most important things that she did in her research career was to help us find out what kinds of activities caused an increase in intracranial pressure. She went on then to collaborate with a biomedical engineer who helped design a monitoring system that would help nurses visualize when intracranial pressure was getting too high. The Living Legend Award is all about impact. Here is a woman who, in her career, not only changed how we educate nurses for this very important specialty practice of neuroscience nursing, she transformed how we think about the quality outcomes in healthcare. Pam was an inspiration to me from the first time that I met her. Her ability to make people feel comfortable is immediate. As I worked with her over time, I came to admire her intelligence, her wisdom, but especially her kindness and her integrity.
Thank you. Yes, I'm a short one. Oh, wow. I echo so many things that other people have said in gazing out at this amazing crowd. Although I've stood at this podium or a similar one many times when I was president of the Academy, this is a singular moment. I stand in the company of giants, on the shoulders of giants, and the shoulders of so many have come before. And with all of you here, it is an awesome view. I'm one of these people who wanted to be a nurse as early as the age of 5. I think it was the uniform with those big wingy caps, the big capes, and believe me, when I was 5 years old, capes and hats were high fashion. However, by the time I was in college and deciding which organic chemistry series to take, it was a more reasoned choice. I wanted to work with people, but to use science. And lo and behold, I definitely got to work with people, and I became a scientist as well. Who knew? There are so many individuals that I would wish to thank by name, but they only gave me 3 minutes. So I think what I'll do is focus on the support that I've gotten over all of these years from my husband, Don, our sons, Rob, Ken, and Andrew, most of whom are sitting over here, and their families who are here with us tonight. And also on my nominators, Nancy Woods, Hillary Thompson, Ramon Lavandera, and Terry Richmond, and all of our colleagues at the American Association of Critical Care Nurses, the American Association of Neuroscience Nurses, the American Heart and Stroke Association, and all of you from the American Academy of Nursing. I also want to give a big shout out to the many colleagues that I've had the privilege to work with at places where I've had actual appointments, like the University of Washington, Duke University, the University of Toronto, and then visiting faculty ones at Chiang Mai University, Seoul National University, and National Defense in Taiwan. I'm not often speechless, but I am tonight. It is just such a privilege to be a part of this amazing profession and to see all of the people who are going to carry it forward in improving the lives of the people who are our colleagues and our patients and the recipients of our care. Thank you.
The fourth living legend to be recognized this evening is Linda Schwartz. Dr. Linda Schwartz exemplifies service and duty, having served this country with honor in both uniform and as a public official. Linda began her service career in the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War and retired in 1986 after sustaining injuries in an aircraft accident while serving as a flight nurse instructor. Her experience resulted in empathy and a deep personal understanding of the problems, struggles, and needs of veterans seeking help from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Her determination to right the wrongs she encountered was fueled by her understanding that as a nurse is a voice for those who have no voice. Linda gave voice to those veterans by testifying on their behalf more than 35 times before both chambers of Congress. Dismayed by the number of Vietnam veterans crippled and dying at very early ages, Dr. Schwartz focused her scholarly interests on the impact of military use of hazardous substances, particularly Agent Orange, and how it impacted women veterans. These concerns, coupled with the reality that the majority of America's veterans receive their care in the community, prompted her to initiate a program to raise the awareness of non-VA providers regarding the unique health needs of veterans. This effort evolved into a cooperative venture with the Academy, Vietnam Veterans of America, and National Association of State Directors of Veterans Affairs, and it came to be known as Have You Ever Served Initiative. In 2013, in recognition of her immense accomplishments and talents, she was nominated by President Barack Obama and unanimously confirmed by the Senate as VA Assistant Secretary for Policy and Planning. She was the VA's principal advisor on all policy matters, interagency activities, and strategic planning. As Assistant Secretary, she championed for allowing full practice authority for all Veteran Health Administration advanced practice nurses. Linda continues to be a strong advocate for the current generation of military service members and veterans, routinely going to the Hill, collaborating with colleagues, and participating in meetings to address the unique needs of this population, ranging from readjustment, women's health, substance abuse, homelessness, and mental health. Linda, thank you for your remarkable service. Now, Dr. Ann Kurth, one of her sponsors, will tell us a little more.
I've known Linda Spoonster Schwartz for only about 4 years personally since I came to the Yale School of Nursing as dean. But of course, I knew of her, as we all do, given her national leadership for veterans and for females around the country. It's her spirit and her energy that most inspires me. She is compassionate, she is compunctious, she follows through, she sets goals and achieves them, and she never gives up. But it's her empathy and her impact that I think is most inspiring about Linda. Linda has had a tremendous impact at many levels across her long nursing career. She developed and really helped implement the Have You Ever Served campaign, which by 2015 had reached all 50 states. That was a policy game changer for the health of millions of veterans. She was also an early advocate for bringing scientific inquiry to bear on the effects of Agent Orange on female veterans, including nurses. She was there and in place to help guide, develop, and implement the advanced practice rule. Now, this has allowed advanced practice registered nurses to practice to the full scope of education across all 50 states where VAs operate. That's something we'd all been fighting for decades, and Linda helped bring it to fruition. In 2002, Linda pulled off something that had never been accomplished before, which was to have the first conference with U.S. and Vietnamese scientists on U.S. soil hosted at the Yale School of Nursing. Linda works with so many people, including Kim Phuc, who was the infamous napalm girl from the photo of the Vietnam era. They are collaborators. They move together with their compassion, their scholarship, and their commitment towards healing. Now, if that doesn't sum up Linda Spoonster Schwartz, I don't know what does. Few people have the passion, the persistence, and the policy impact that Linda Spoonster Schwartz has had. There's a reason she was given the She Persisted Award by the National Women's History Association. Dean Catherine Gillis has summed it up, I think, very well. She said, "I have few heroes, but Linda is the one I revere the most." Linda, you are a true living legend. We are all so grateful for your leadership and your continuing impact on everyone around you. Thank you.
I was saying it's a good thing you don't see these films before you come up here. I want to thank the Academy, and I want to also thank my nominators, Catherine Gillis, Dean Kurth, and Dr. Colonel Pat Patrician from the University of Alabama in Birmingham. I also want to thank my friends and family who are here tonight to celebrate with me. I'm reminded of a line from a Harry Chapin song, "Old friends mean more because they see where you are and they know where you've been." Friends who knew me once when I could not remember my own telephone number and I could not tie my own shoes. Friends who literally and figuratively saved my life many times over. But especially my family, and honored tonight that the President and officers of Vietnam Veterans of America have come to honor me this evening. It is also rumored that members of the Velvet Mafia are here, and you know who you are. My husband, who is here this evening, recently gave me a coffee mug that says, life may have brought me to live in Connecticut, but really I'm an Ohio girl at heart. But when I came to Connecticut, I moved into a neighborhood that was pretty fascinating. If anybody remembers Edith Patton Lewis, who was not only the editor of the American Journal of Nursing, Nursing Outlook, and Nursing Research, she was a neighbor, and she became my guide to many movers and shakers in nursing who are here tonight. And I see you, Pam. I see you, Lucille Joel. I see Barbara Nichols. All of these were part of my formative years in nursing. But more importantly, Pat Lewis talked me into getting a master's at Yale. We also had, living in the same neighborhood, Barbara Scott, who was a longtime editor of the American Journal of Nursing and a very important part of helping me navigate the waters of political science that I really never learned in nursing. And Madeline Lawrence, who was someone who introduced me to the concept of change agents. But the real game changer was my accident. It was in the summer of my year of my master's program. The door blew off of a C-141 at 30,000 feet, 500 miles off the coast of Virginia. And I ended up with decompression sickness of the brain and spinal cord. And I had to leave the Air Force. And tonight, two of my, Colonel Joan Seba and Colonel Joan Schaefer, were part of my squadron. And I really did mourn the loss of that, but they kept saying to me, you know, when God closes a door, he opens a window. But I said, not at 30,000 feet, 500 miles off the coast. But I was very fortunate to be a student at the Yale School of Nursing with Dean Donna Deers, Judy Krause. I owe my life to the person who actually organized my carpool, who was Barbara Hazard. And that's how I got back and forth to school. But I do owe a great deal to Dr. Madeline Vicentina-Baranowski and the help and comfort and wisdom of Florence Wald and Virginia Henderson, John Thompson, and Marge Funk. I can truly say, if I had not been a student at Yale, I would not be here today. I had to use the VA system, and I kept thinking, there's got to be a better way to do this. Waiting hours, and noticing that the veterans around me were reluctant or didn't know to ask the questions. So I decided to take a page out of Virginia Henderson's playbook and become the voice of those who have no voice. And this evolved into being more of an advocate and bringing to bear nursing and all of the tools of nursing. You know, nurses are great listeners, and we can listen to all kinds of sides of an issue, but our eye is squarely on the end product, and that is a formidable force when you're talking to legislators, presidents. The idea that nurses can reach down and touch that which is human in all of us. That is a great power. And we all have it within it. I came to nursing because I wanted to help. I wanted to heal wounds. I have ended up healing the wounds of war. It is a never-ending story, but I just want to take 1 minute. I'll never do this again. I would just like to ask all the veterans, anyone who served in the military, to please stand to be recognized, because I accept this award on your behalf.
Our fifth living legend to be recognized tonight is Mary Wakefield. Dr. Mary Wakefield has been and remains a prominent and public figure for sound policy change. Whether in the halls of Congress or in the executive branch, Mary has focused her career on applying nursing expertise to health policy. She has shown us all that nurses have an essential and indispensable voice at the highest levels of government. Mary began her life in Washington, D.C. by starting an internship with her home state senator from North Dakota, the late U.S. Senator Quentin Burdick. Mary's tenacity was so apparent that she was promoted to Chief of Staff, a position she would also later hold under Senator Kent Conrad. While Mary left Washington, D.C. in 1996 to return to academia, including a position as the Associate Dean for Rural Health at the University of North Dakota School of Medicine. She did eventually return to D.C. to serve as the Administrator of Health Resources and Services Administration under President Barack Obama in 2009. Mary led this vital multi-billion-dollar agency through a period of immense growth and achievements during the implementation of the Affordable Care Act. Her accomplishments as the head of HRSA led President Barack Obama to nominate her to serve as the Deputy Secretary of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, making her the highest-ranking nurse in the government and the first nurse to hold this senior executive position. In this role, she directed over 80 health programs ranging from organ transplantation to maternal and child health services. She led major initiatives to strengthen the healthcare workforce, including nursing, and to increase access to primary care, particularly for underserved and rural populations. Dr. Wakefield also has an enduring commitment to educating the next generation of nursing, having taught hundreds of nursing students at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. She continues this legacy today and currently serves as visiting professor at Georgetown University School of Nursing and Health Studies, as well as the University of Texas at Austin School of Nursing. As the healthcare landscape continues to evolve and change, it's reassuring to know that Mary continues to share her expertise on the national level and is helping to lead the National Academy of Medicine Consensus Study on the Future of Nursing 2020-2030 in her role as co-chair. Dr. Sylvia Trent Adams, one of Mary Wakefield's sponsors, has more to add.
I met Dr. Mary Wakefield when she came to HRSA as the administrator for the Health Resources and Services Administration. I worked under her leadership from 2009 in her role as a HRSA administrator and followed her throughout 2017 in her role as the Deputy Secretary. She has distinguished herself for many years. She's also for decades led in many policy areas as well as clinical areas around health policy, rural health, and making sure that underserved populations were served. But she's always been on the front line and distinguishing herself in many roles that were not traditionally held by nurses. She's created pathways for others by demonstrating the skills that are needed to be successful as a nurse leader, but also as being a healthcare executive. Leading from the front typically means that you're demonstrating the skills and the competencies that are needed to be in charge, and she definitely lets us know that she was in charge. I think the most important aspect of Dr. Wakefield is her dedication and commitment. It is unquestionable that she is committed to the mission, and that mission is making sure that people who are underserved, professionals who need access to educational programs, that they can get the opportunity to do what they want to do and further their career in the health space. As she always said, good enough is not good enough, and we can do better in everything that we're doing. Her unquestioned dedication to the nursing profession alone is reason enough for her to be considered for this award. But the nation and mankind is a lot better off because of the efforts of Mary Wakefield. And I think that there's no one else that I could think of that would categorize in the same space with her. She's indeed a superstar, and her outstanding contributions to the world will go on for far past her lifetime. As we recognize Dr. Wakefield tonight as a living legend, we're going into 2020, which is the year of the nurse. Also, it's the 200th anniversary of Florence Nightingale. And I cannot think of a better way to go into 2020 than recognizing a superstar, a stellar nurse leader like Mary Wakefield. She is truly a tremendous value to the world, and I want to say congratulations, Dr. Wakefield. You are more than worthy of the recognition as a living legend, and God bless.
Thank you, and special thanks to members of the Academy Board and also to the nurse leaders who nominated me for this award, Dr. Zeta Sue Hinshaw, Stephanie Ferguson, and Sylvia Trent Adams. It really is a high honor both to be here tonight alongside 4 incredibly distinguished colleagues and to be here with all of you, members of this Academy. When it comes to the American Academy of Nursing, I consider it an absolute privilege to be part of this organization. A privilege because of the deep commitment the Academy has to leverage much needed nursing expertise to improve the health of this nation. Regardless of what our individual area of expertise is or how we deploy that expertise, the AAN offers all of us a venue to learn about, to lean in, and to help shape public policy. And the Academy includes this focus in its work because it rightly recognizes the profound impact that health-related public policy has. The Academy recognizes that public policies can degrade access to healthcare services, or they can connect people to care. Public policies can divide communities into health haves and health have-nots. Or health policy can build health bridges to every family across America. This organization recognizes that the influence of public policy on the health status of our communities and our nation is as potent as any blockbuster drug. It is as powerful as any healthcare system. It is as impactful as any research study. And because of that, the Academy knows the importance of nurses informing policymaking and the importance of more policymakers, including governors and presidents, recognizing and leveraging the value of the nursing profession for both the leadership asset that it is and for the health and healthcare expertise that it brings. Bottom line, to be good partners in the health of Americans, we need to be good partners in helping to shape health policy. And for that sharp focus on the part of the Academy, I am immensely grateful. Finally, I just want to end by expressing deep appreciation and thanks to my husband, Charlie, who is here with me this evening, thanking him for his support and helping me to do what, in myriad ways, all nurses do, to help others. Charlie, thank you. Thank you particularly for all those midnight pickups at the airport, often in sub-zero weather, when I'd come home on the last flight in on those rare weekend trips I'd make home to the Northern Plains from Washington, D.C. Thank you for ensuring that the bills were paid, the taxes were filed, the freezer was full, and the dog was walked. Not just for months, a few months, but actually over years, so that this nurse could fully bring a nurse's expertise to the health policy arena. Yes. Yeah, truly. See, they appreciate you. As a great physician and a great partner, I never needed to explain to you why this work was so important for me to do. Well, with that, let me end with this observation from one of my undergraduate nursing instructors, a nun, a sister, from the Catholic college where I pursued my bachelor's in nursing, the University of Mary at Bismarck, North Dakota. When she learned of this evening's wonderful recognition, she noted this: what makes something worth celebrating is more than what we do. It's what we do it for. And with that in mind, to the Academy leadership, staff, and members of this organization, for what all of you do in this room, and more importantly, for what you do it for. Thank you so much.
Please join me in another warm round of applause for our newest group of living legends. I am inspired and encouraged by the legacy they have shaped over the course of their careers, reminding us all that our actions on behalf of the public are lasting and impactful. Thank you for your attention, and please enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.